Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Why are Steelers such heavy underdogs versus Ravens? For the first time on Sunday, the Pittsburgh Steelers started quarterback Russell Wilson and lost without the divine intervention some call lake effect snow. The Steelers fell, on the road, to the Philadelphia Eagles, losing 27-13 in a game that saw just 2 Pittsburgh drives in the second half. The Steelers died a slow, methodical death at the hands of the Eagles' ground game, pushing them back to within 1 game of the Baltimore Ravens. Pittsburgh will have a shot at redemption in Week 16, and the stakes can't get much higher. A loss could very well lose the Steelers the division, as they'd be tied at 10-5 with the Kansas City Chiefs and Cincinnati Bengals left on the docket, compared to Baltimore's slate of the Houston Texans and Cleveland Browns. This has all the makings of a playoff game, but Pittsburgh's poor offensive output has rendered it 6.5-point underdogs on the road against the Ravens. Simply put, Week 15 was the worst game of Wilson's tenure in Western Pennsylvania. He completed 14 of 22 passes for 128 yards and a touchdown, operating an offense rudderless without receiver George Pickens. Against the lowly Browns, it's possible to compete at less than full strength. That's not going to cut it against Philadelphia or any other Super Bowl contender. Wilson had a chance to emphasize Pittsburgh's place as a force to be reckoned with. But a one-dimensional attack, running back Najee Harris also had an abysmal evening, put the unit behind the 8 ball. Starting slow gave the Eagles a chance to get ahead and lean on its elite ground game to shut the door early. Expect the Ravens to try and follow the same path. Baltimore quarterback Lamar Jackson is one of one in his ability to add to the rushing attack as a force multiplier, and running back Derrick Henry is primed to explode after a quiet day in East Rutherford. If Wilson, Harris, and an offense that's been unsteady since its Week 13 shootout win can't come out of the gate hot, the Steelers risk facing the same fate it did on Sunday. With a total of 44.5 points, DraftKings Sportsbook projects Pittsburgh to lose 25-18. Fulfilling that prophecy could seal the Steelers' destiny as a wild card team for the second time in as many years. Ravens All-Pro speaks out about record versus Steelers. A Baltimore Ravens All-Pro spoke out about his team's dire recent record versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Finding out the Baltimore Ravens have lost 8 of their last 9 games against the Pittsburgh Steelers caught All-Pro cornerback Marlon Humphrey off guard. The 28-year-old told reporters, including ESPN's Jamison Hensley, on Tuesday, December 17, how the record bothers me. When I found out, it was surprising. I know the guys in the locker room, we want to win this rivalry. 8 out of the last 9, it's not a good number at all, so I think focus has got to be at a premium this week. Marlon Humphrey, who will address the team later this week, on the Ravens losing 8 of the last 9 games to the rival Steelers. Humphrey knows the Ravens need more intensity to finally get one over on their AFC North rivals. Now is the ideal time with the two teams set to renew hostilities at M&T Bank Stadium on Saturday, December 21, with the division crown at stake. The stakes were obvious during what Humphrey revealed was a fiery meeting today, per Jeff Zrebiec of The Athletic. As Humphrey put it, this rivalry is big. This means a lot to a lot of people. Humphrey said the team had a fiery meeting today. This rivalry is big. This means a lot to a lot of people. Upping their aggression is one thing, but the Ravens need to play smarter, more controlled football if they're going to finally reverse the tide against their familiar foe. The Steelers have had the Ravens' number for a variety of reasons, not the least of which has been self-inflicted wounds. Mistakes like dropped passes plagued the Ravens in their last 2 meetings with the Steelers. Those drops have hamstrung 2-time NFL MVP quarterback Lamar Jackson, who has consistently been made to look ordinary by Pittsburgh's defense. The Steelers know how to keep Jackson under pressure. They also know how to force turnovers in key moments. A Jackson interception and fumbles by Derrick Henry and tight end Isaiah Likely doomed the Ravens during Week 11's 18-16 defeat at Acrisure Stadium. Protecting the football is one key for the Ravens in Week 16. So is the performance of an improving defense that owes its turnaround to a key member of the Humphrey-led secondary. The Ravens have allowed less than 300 yards passing and 24 or fewer points in 3 of their last 4 games, per Pro Football Reference. It's hardly the stuff of last season, when Baltimore's defense led the league in points allowed, sacks and turnovers forced, but this year's unit is making strides. Charting the origin of the turnaround is easy. Performances got better once head coach John Harbaugh named 2 new starters at safety. One of those was hardly new, but Kyle Hamilton moving from playing close to the line of scrimmage to operating deep has made a difference. Humphrey agrees, telling the press, "It's been really a group effort to get things right." So not trying to give Kyle all the credit, but he deserves a big amount for sure. Hamilton will need to form and maintain a formidable last line of defense against Steelers quarterback Russell Wilson. The latter loves to attack defenses vertically, and a few big plays is likely all either team will need to win on Saturday. It's high time the Ravens were on the right side of those big plays against the Steelers. Darius Slay, Mike Tomlin would be one of the next coaches I'd be wanting to play for. Philadelphia Eagles CB Darius Slay did not endear himself to Pittsburgh Steelers fans on Sunday. He got involved in a scuffle with Steelers TE Darnell Washington that he thought was going to result in some players getting early marching orders. But one thing did not change on Slay's end from before the start of the game to the final whistle: his admiration for Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin. Slay was effusive in his praise of Tomlin in the lead-up to Sunday's game. And he continued to praise Tomlin after the fact during his Big Play Slay podcast on Tuesday. "Everybody know Mike Tomlin, you know what I'm saying," said Slay. "One of the best coaches that ever do it. I love Mike Tomlin. Like, if I wasn't playing for Nick Sirianni and the Philadelphia Eagles, he'd be one of the next coaches I'd be wanting to play for. Just because I hear such great things about him. I done met him a couple times. We had great talks, man. I respect what he's doing over there. He respects my game." And by all accounts, Slay nearly did play for Mike Tomlin. During the 2023 offseason, Slay was in limbo with the Philadelphia Eagles. His contract never ended with the team, but there were rumors he could be cut. Instead, he ended up restructuring his deal to remain in Philadelphia. At one point in the process, Slay was in contact with some of the Steelers players who were trying to recruit him if such a move became possible. Slay himself says he nearly went cross-state to Pittsburgh. But the Steelers signed CB Patrick Peterson instead, and Slay remained with the Eagles. Maybe a future pairing is in the cards. But Darius Slay will turn 34 on New Year's Day. Will the Steelers and Mike Tomlin be interested once Slay becomes a free agent? Who knows? But Slay would certainly be open to playing for Tomlin if the opportunity did arise. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Darius Slay? Leave your opinion in the comments.